We're here at the BQ Prime headquarters at the Confederation of Indian Industry, assessing, well, some of the fine print of Budget 2023 presented a short while ago by Nirmala Sitharaman. I'm just going to recap some of the key points that our team of editors at BQ Prime has made. One is that, in a sense, she's heard the middle class. The second is she's increased capital expenditure dramatically and significantly, a 33% hike over the previous year, and that's got to be a good thing for the Indian economy. And the third, and there is a sigh of relief by observers, economists and analysts, that the government's commitment to fiscal prudence is clear, it's been reiterated, and it's in the budget speech. Well, we're going to move beyond the macro picture with Sunjay Kapur, President of ACMA. Thank you very much for joining us on BQ Prime. Let's get straight to it. Your big takeaway from the budget speech and what your peer group, in a sense, is cheering from this budget.
So I think, it's been a great growth-oriented budget, if I can call it that. A lot of push in the right direction, a push in terms of infrastructure, green growth, a lot of talk about green growth, which is, very close to my heart and very well, very associated with the automotive industry and the way that we're headed in terms of electronic, in terms of EV, in terms of hydrogen, in terms of alternate fuels. So definitely, push in the right direction. We at the automotive industry, of course, have had the added benefit of PLI schemes and FAME2 schemes, which has definitely helped growth in terms of future technologies, export-oriented growth, as well as deep localization. Of course, the budget has a lot of push in terms of domestic consumption and domestic growth. And we're seeing all that pan out in the automotive industry. They talked about AI, talked about 5G. Again, great initiatives from a manufacturing perspective, priority capital expenditure, support to the MSMEs. If you look at the auto component industry, 65 to 70% of our industry is SMEs and MSMEs. So, great push in that direction. So, definitely everything that we were looking forward to from outside of the automotive industry that will impact the automotive industry positively has definitely been announced. A lot of talk about circular economy, again, recycling, etc., sustainability. These are all the right metrics in terms of where we want to be, as a nation, I would say, and as an industry.
Okay, I'm going to circle back to a couple of things that you just mentioned, because I know that's a very complimentary opening statement from you on the budget, but there were expectations of the PLI and the FAME kind of schemes that have worked really well for the automotive sector. There was expectation of an extension, expansion, really revving that piece up, and that hasn't really happened in this particular budget. So will there be some disappointment on that count?
So with PLI, we've just kicked off. We haven't reached even year one, so the PLI's got a while to go. We've got 5 years to go. I think if they had a PLI scheme for tires, it would be good. It'd be a good initiative. With FAME2, it ends in 2024, and I'm certain that if there's success, the government will extend it. Every conversation we've had with this current government, with the Ministry of Heavy Industries, has always pointed in the direction of if we can make success of the scheme, they will definitely look at extending it, putting more money behind it. Again, it's very growth-oriented, very future technology-oriented. So, I'm not disappointed at all.
Actually, you made a very important point there, because they wanted the proof of PLI's success to come in before they started sort of amp that up. So that's an important point. Green mobility, in the text and texture and tone of the speech, an area of focus for this government. Have all the pieces of the puzzle come together to your assessment?
Yeah. So I think, again, infrastructure needs to be developed, infrastructure needs to be built, but I think that will come through private and public partnership. I feel again, going back to PLI, it's all about future technologies. So we're on the right track. We're headed in that direction. We've already crossed 1 million vehicles when it comes to e-mobility, electric vehicles, and we're slated to grow at great growth rates, almost 49% over the next few years. And I think we'll meet the targets.
I'm told, and I didn't visit myself, but at the Auto Expo, a green sustainable mobility was really the flavor of that moment. I'm going to ask you to be as honest as you possibly can. Mm-hmm. It makes for great optics, but there is a very evolved back end that has to fall into place, and I mean not just from infrastructure but also capability of suppliers, etc., to do this in India. I think if anything the last year has taught us is that managing supply chains can be challenging. External factors can throw all kinds of plans off. So reflect on that.
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked me that question, because whilst you talk about the Auto Expo component show had 800 companies. Every one of these, in fact, we had to turn away people because we didn't have enough space. Every one of these companies displayed future technologies in the electric space. So as an industry, we're very well geared up to supply into the electric vehicle industry, to supply into the OEMs, whether it be EVs or alternate fuels. So let me just qualify this by saying EV, I don't mean pure battery electric, but alternate fuels as well. And if you look at the investments that we've made and the capex cycle that that is incurred in the auto component industry, the real volume comes from outside of India. And therefore, when we look at capex and we look at investments in terms of electrification, we look at a larger market space than India alone. So I would say the auto component industry is geared up. And to qualify that again, last year we did a survey of the executive committee of ACMA, which stated that 70% of all companies were ready to supply into EV, and the remainder 30% would be in the next year or so. If you look at, again, the component space or the automotive OEMs, 70% will pretty much remain the same. 30% of that 70% may change in terms of tweaking of torques, etc. But the 30% of the engine will definitely disappear. However, I must also say that the ICE engine is not going away anytime soon. With this will come greater opportunities in terms of software, in terms of telematics, in terms of ADAS, in terms of connectivity. So the opportunity within the industry is growing, and we're addressing those opportunities by whether it be in terms of growing our own technology or joint venture alliances or technology alliances. So I think we're well positioned.
Sunjay, Kapur, I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks very much for your time and insights here on BQ Prime.